All right, my dear friends, so you're making your way to a reclined butterfly pose. And again, being at home, you may not have the benefit of the traditional bolster, and that's okay, right? Use whatever you've got handy. You could simply take a blanket and roll it up enough to give you just a little bit of height off the floor. That would be just fine. When you get situated, feet together, knees falling out away from each other and laying back. I am intentionally having you take reclined butterfly pose in the beginning because I want you to settle in, breathe deep, open the heart, the chest, and sort of surrender. Even when we feel in times of being anxious, if we can find a really safe space to just surrender into. I'm assuming most of you are in your homes. You're in a place where it's okay to open up and relax and rest. So settle in again, tuck those shoulders down the back, open the heart, rest the hands. Most of you know maybe it feels good to sort of sweep the arms up and down a little bit, maybe drape the arms over the back of the head and just sort of rest with that for a minute. But then find that neutral position where you can just really roll the shoulders down, let the palms rest upward, and settle in to a beautiful heart opener, nice gentle back bend, hip opener, and just breathe. I would like you to consider today for the pranayama, the breath control that you do during your practice today, that you would focus on your exhalations. So breathe in fully, and then when you're exhaling, make the exhale just a bit longer, and maybe even a brief stillness or pause at the bottom of the exhalation. So focusing on that downward breath, that downward energy, helping you to feel grounded, steady, and strong where you are. Long inhales, of course, keeping both the length on the inhale and exhale, but again, specific focus on downward energy of the exhale and letting the breath settle for just a moment at the bottom of the exhalation. I'll let you know as we go through the course of the next 5 minutes where you are in time. And you're just at 1 minute here. If it's appropriate in whatever version or whatever you've had for props, you may lift and lengthen the head and take the gaze to one side, finding a nice stretch or opening in the side neck as well. You may keep your head down the center because that feels better for you today. Eyes can be open or closed, depending on your location and how anxious you might feel. If you can, anytime that we can use the ability to dull down the senses, and with eyes closed, we lose sort of that visual reaching out, and we can settle in maybe a little bit more specific to letting go of sight and resisting the urge to reach out for sound, to identify sensations on the skin, dulling down the senses so we're coming inward. 2 minutes into 5, thinking about the breath, guiding every inhalation and exhalation. And again, that's helping us keep that inward focus, losing this sort of attachment and this need to reach out into your space. 2.5 minutes into 5, so you're halfway there. If you did have your head turned to one side, a gentle lift, lengthen, and exhale, take the second side. Remember, all of our breath in this practice today involves the belly, the ribs, and the upper part of the chest, expanding and contracting. Feeling yourself rise and fall. With every exhale and that focus on downward energy, you're allowing yourself to settle back in. Muscles of the body starting to soften. choosing intentionally to let go. Remembering for this next hour or so together, there's no place else for you to be. There's nothing else for you to do. If distractions come into the room or into your space from somewhere else, if it's not anything that's about your safety, just choose to let it be. Noises you can hear outside of your space, don't worry about it. Take care of you right now. You're just about 4 minutes in. So in this last minute of this particular posture, take that inventory of where you might be feeling something in your body. Maybe it's your low back. Maybe it's the hips. Maybe it's the chest and neck and shoulders are still kind of hanging on. Is there a way for you to breathe openness, to breathe softness into that particular place? That particular place which is of significance to you today. You're taking your last several deep breaths, inhaling and exhaling here. And as we're in a reclined posture, we want to be really careful. So you might first just reach down and take those legs and draw them back together. It might feel better to roll off of your bolster before you sit up. You might not be ready to sit up. You might leave your feet on the floor and sway your knees side to side, taking those windshield wipers. When you're ready, either roll off to your side and come up to seated, or just sit up strongly with a strong belly. From here, any movements will take a minute or two here in between to just move and breathe and stretch. Again, we're practicing together in a slightly different format through this virtual stream, but I encourage you to really get lost in your space. You know your practice. Listen to your body. Move it any way that feels good and satisfying for you. No rush. Letting you know that our next posture or asana that we'll move into, balasana or child's pose. So again, in this sort of slightly different format, you might need to find something to use for your support in child's pose. So I'll give you the time to figure out whatever that might be for you. So I might not have a bolster, but I could certainly roll up a blanket. I'm going to decide whether or not I'm going to take child's pose with my knees together or my knees out wide. When my knees are out wide, it allows me to lay the belly and chest down in between the thighs. When I take with knees out wide, it allows me to have a flat back. If my knees are together, my back is nice and round. So your choice, whatever supports you need. If you're struggling with the knees, right, remember that oftentimes using something underneath the knees to take some of the stress off the knees can be of benefit, right? So again, props underneath the belly for support, maybe even a block or another pillow for the head. Laying down, supporting the upper part of the body so that the shoulders can completely relax. Connecting the forehead, that third eye, to something, right? Perfect. We'll go ahead and start timing 5 minutes here. Again, your forehead might be on the floor, connecting third eye, quieting the mind. You might turn your head to one side and then the other. again, I just can't encourage you enough to just listen to your body, follow your breath. There's nothing else that needs to be done here. If you find yourself in this posture and it becomes painful, please make adjustments or just simply take yourself out of the pose, find rest, and wait for the next posture. Really, the only wrong way to do Yin Yoga is to do it so that you're pushing your edges past uncomfortable and coming into that space of painful. So just be on the edge, right? I'm a little uncomfortable here, but I know that I'm going to be okay. Breathing in and out. And remembering focusing on that downward energy, that exhalation, that pause bottom. Relaxing the lower jaw, softening the eyes, the expression on the face. In this posture, maybe even potentially focusing the breath towards the back of the body. You're just over a minute and a half into 5. Again, even in this pose, if your arms are reaching out, you still got this softness in the shoulders. Arms, again, it may be along your side, palms face up, but lengthen the neck, space for the shoulders. Long breath in, long breath out. You're just at 2.5 minutes, so you're halfway there. It really is an honor and a privilege to be able to meet you wherever you are, to be able to connect in a way that allows us to still have the practice at home, reminding us that we are still a community, we are still interconnected, even though we might not share that same personal space at the moment. You are 3 minutes into 5. Notice any adjustments that you might need to make. If you feel like you can go a little deeper into the pose, take yourself a little deeper, move some of the props out of the way. Again, if you found yourself coming into a place of, I'm very, very uncomfortable and I can't stop that cycle of how uncomfortable I am, then we maybe need to make an adjustment there as well. Remembering as you get creative with your props that just look around the house and find anything you can find. Maybe if you don't have a sandbag, there's a 10-pound bag of rice or beans in the cabinet, dry rice or beans that you can use for some weight, right? That's a great option. You are 4 minutes into this posture, so you've got about 1 more minute here. Finding in this last minute, again, maybe that one spot in the body that just still feels so resistant to letting go. And seeing if we can find just a bit more softening there. The body's willingness to let go. Last several deep breaths. When you feel ready, take the time to get those hands back underneath the shoulders. Use an inhale, push into the earth, bringing yourself up to a tabletop position. Maybe work through some cat-cows, arching and rounding the back. Right, moving through, arching and rounding. Maybe it feels good to come all the way down in forward rest. Maybe it feels good to take a little baby back bend here. Laying down in forward rest is just fine. Maybe you get onto your back, hug your knees into your chest, roll around a little bit. Anything that brings you that sense of counterposing, acting against that sort of discomfort that you felt maybe in that pose. Remember that whatever your practice offers you today, whatever information comes, whatever experiences, thoughts, or ideas that come, that's fine. We let it come. We talked at noontime class today about the idea of intrusive thoughts coming, right? And we seem to be in a state and time where we might have a lot of intrusive thoughts. And when that's happening, we can choose to hang on to that thought and run with it, or we can choose to just set it off to the side. So the same thing here as we settle into our postures and just sort of sit with it. When things are coming in, we have a choice to hang on and run with it, to keep it, to hang on to it, to carry it with us, or to let it go. And it's really the same idea as to what we're doing in the postures themselves. All right, so you're gonna prepare your space for dragonfly, which is essentially our wide-legged seated forward fold. So again, depending on where you are and what your space looks like, maybe padding underneath the heels if you need that. You may struggle to find enough height here. So again, if you're fortunate enough to have a space where you can use the wall, take your legs up the wall and let the legs fall out, right? Maybe you don't normally do that in class, but you don't really have enough props to do this at home. Use whatever variations or options you can find. So again, the legs are spread wide, but not too far because we don't want to use the muscles of the legs. The feet fall in or out wherever they go. And then we're going to find the support that we need in front. Take that time, however, to find that sort of upward lift before you fold forward. And then once you fold, forward, then take that time to surrender into that fold. Again, legs soft, just gently stretched, relax, fold, and breathe, right? Breath, all practices of yoga. Our asana practice is nice, but it will always receive the best benefits from good pranayama, so breathing really well throughout the entire process. Now we might kind of forget about that as we settle in, but once you've settled in here, take your focus back to breathing. Again, those of you that use mantras, you might repeat a mantra over and over in your mind. Again, here comes the benefit of being in the space you're in, doing your own practice right now. You choose the soundtrack, right? If you want to have the Dalai Lama's healing mantra playing in your bedroom with you while you're doing your practice, what a beautiful way to do that. Maybe there's another favorite song, or maybe you want some amazing soundtrack that nobody else wants to listen to. Listen to it, right? Whatever helps support you to be at ease, to be comfortable, to rest, to be inspired to sit and be still with yourself. Thinking not only in this posture, but the other postures that we're in, sort of the body language, whether it's welcoming, inviting, or if it's tense and anxious, right? So turning just simply the palms face up and the hands open and soft means something quite different than fingers clenched and tight. Shoulders hunched up around the ears and forward means something very different from open and receiving. Right? So just think about those sort of inventories of the body. Big, long inhale, expanding the belly, the chest, and the ribs. In and out, in and out. We're just about the halfway point in this particular asana, so maybe you can start to move the props away. Maybe you feel a little stagnant and stuck in it. Maybe take an inhale, rise up, and exhale, fold a little deeper maybe. Maybe just finding a little more length at that same level. Breathing long and deep breath. Softening the eyes. Relaxing the lower jaw. Hinges of the jaw soft. Feel the eyelids themselves soft. Maybe there's a gentle smile. You're just at 3.5 minutes. Breathing fully, resting and settling in. You've got about 1 more minute. So again, in the end of this posture, where is it that your body's still sort of hanging on? It could be the hamstrings, still kind of a little tight, right? It could be the lower back that's still a little anxious. That's where utilizing those supports can be so super effective, is that when the body can feel that support underneath, then it's willing to let go and open and soften, surrender, if you will. Last several deep breaths here. Please be very mindful of your back. Engage your bandhas, engage your low belly. Take the inhale, maybe use your hands and help yourself rise. Exhaling here, you might need your hands to help those legs back together. Maybe straighten them out and shake them up and down. Some toe tapping might feel nice. Windshield wipers could feel good, right? That swaying side to side. You might leave the feet out, knees in, sort of that opposite of what we just did. Anything that feels good. Your breath, your movement, next minute or two. Remember, as we're moving through the postures and moving through the body, that again, oftentimes we become a lot more aware of lingering sort of stagnation or some chronic long-term discomfort that we're dealing with. And we might ignore it going through our day and getting through our days, moving through our jobs and our activities. But in a yin yoga practice, we're sort of forced to sit and face it. And again, that's where using the props come into play, so that we can really support the body, so that whatever's been going on up here that's kind of held onto in the body, that now we can start to process through that and move through that space. So just being mindful of where those areas are and utilizing the practice, the breath, the mindfulness, the willingness, the physical support, all of those tools that can help us move through those things. Awesome. Next posture we'll take is caterpillar. Caterpillar is, again, our basic seated forward fold. So options. Again, this is one that you could take with your legs up the wall, for example. If we struggle with tight hamstrings or uncomfortable knees, something underneath the knees might be nice. Something underneath the hips might be nice. Getting those hips up a little bit as we fold forward. But again, that idea of having something in front of the body. Again, it might be a couple of blankets or towels rolled up. These legs are soft, right? Even though they're long and straight, they might sort of flop out or flop inward. Any of that is fine. Again, underneath the knees if you need the extra support. Again, length before we fold. But then once we fold, we're soft. Belly soft, shoulders soft, neck is long, sort of draping over. And again, if because you're in an unfamiliar environment where you don't have all of the tools, I did start the timer. If because you don't have all the tools that you might normally have when you're in the yoga studio, don't let yourself sit and suffer in a pose because you don't have the support that you need. Right, so make the variation, the change. Maybe you don't even fold forwards, you just sit upright with your back against the wall. Maybe that's the best option you have, or with your back on your couch or on your bed, and just sit with long legs. I would rather you do that than fold forward with nothing here to hold you up, right? So make the modifications that you need to make. It's all good. It's all good. Today, in our circumstances too, I believe that our pranayama practice is probably more valuable now than ever. So just settle in and accept whatever this practice is looking like for you today. Be okay with wherever you are. Be okay with the inconvenience. Again, if we're fortunate enough to not have someone in our lives, in our circle of friends or family affected or infected, it's merely an inconvenience. And we can be inconvenienced and we'll be okay. This too shall pass. You're a minute and a half into 5. How you doing on your breathing? Would you go back and reconnect? Long inhale, long exhale, and again that pause at the bottom, settling into that exhalation. Let yourself inhale and fill up. Exhale, push the breath down, energy, chi, prana, grounding and hold. Inhale again. Again, soft lower jaw, eyes soft, wrinkle-free forehead, maybe even a gentle smile. How blessed are we to be able to gather and to take our practice in a new and exciting format. You're just over 2.5 minutes in. Remember, as we talked about in the beginning, there's no place else for you to be, nothing else for you to do. And if there's distractions in your space today, welcome the challenge of embracing whatever that is. Allow yourself to stay focused and present on your practice, on your breath, internal experience. You're 3.5 minutes into 5. Last minute here. Again, focusing on that one part of the body that calls out to you, that you feel, again, the greatest sense of restriction, discomfort. Maybe it's, again, something that has always, or for a very long time, sort of bothered you, you know, a low back, a hamstring, a knee, whatever it is. Just focus, focus, focus all of your attention, all of your breath into that one space. Our minds spend a lot of time in sort of this juggling of ideas and thoughts and problems and excitements and jobs to do and tasks at hand. And so settling in and bringing all of your focus to one specific problem, probably not going to happen during the course of our regular day. So savor the time that you have to really pay attention to your body. Last several deep breaths here. And then as you're ready, you're going to take that inhale and use maybe your hands to rise up. And exhaling once you've come up. Maybe there's a good back bend right there because that feels good after a forward fold. Maybe again, bending your legs. Windshield wipers oftentimes work really great for many of these poses. So just take the next minute or two to move in any way that feels good for you. I love you guys so much. I hope you're doing well in your own space. I know that you're doing well because I've seen you all practice, and we're just fine together. Giving you the opportunity to take the time to prepare your space. We're going to go into swan pose, also known as pigeon pose. We'll take the right leg first, and many of you know that I usually take that, get into our swan pose through a downward facing dog, but you're welcome to take it any way that you need to. But take a moment, I'll let you know when we start the timer, but take a moment to, really stretch out your body. So you might move through a couple of cat-cows. Again, you might come into down dog. You might stretch side to side, just kind of moving through the body. And again, when I take you through there, and I'll ask you to go there now with me if you like, we'll inhale up the right leg. Take an exhale, bend the knee. Maybe move that hip around a little bit. Good. As you inhale, straighten the right leg. And exhale, scoot the right knee towards the front of the mat. Remember, the right knee comes to the outer edge. The heel is going to stay close to the hip bone. You'll shift your weight back into the hips, stretching and sitting down into that long left leg. So in this upward facing, I'm going to decide if I need that support underneath before I begin to lay down, and how much support I might need here in the front of my mat. So sitting in this position, get upright, long and tall first, right? Settling in to both the back of the right hip and the front of the left. And when you're ready, start that process of exhaling and coming down. You may only go halfway down and sit with that for a minute. And then a little further, a little further. And again, eventually coming to rest on a prop. My arms might be in front, but I want to resist that urge to get short in the neck. You could drop your arm along the side if you like. You're either facing the knee or you're facing your foot. Either way is just fine. We'll make sure that we take that same view on the second side. And we'll let you settle into your 5 minutes here. Again, if you find that you don't have enough props to make this doable, maybe you only stay in this pose for 3 minutes today where you might normally stay in it 5. It's all good. All good. I am inconvenienced in this space. You and I both, right? We're experiencing something very different. And we just have to embrace that and be okay with the change. Be okay with the new experience and the insights that you might gather that maybe you would have never thought of, experiences you might never have had in the studio, you'll get to have at home. One of the things that I think about when I think about us practicing this way is the opportunity that this might bring, that you start to incorporate your own practice for yourself long term. When you can't get to the yoga studio and you're away on vacation, that you know what you can do for yourself and do your own practice, right? So maybe you never would have done a practice at home, but this change in our sort of situation brings that into a possibility for you. And that would be great. Again, even if it's chanting or meditation or the actual postures themselves, maybe this is what sparks that opportunity to grow in that area of your own personal yoga practice. You're about 1.5 minutes in on this side, so make any adjustments or changes so that you'll be able to find yourself here for a few more minutes. Again, remembering to listen to your body and come out early if you need to. Take yourself, if you're not in the classroom setting, maybe you're not challenging yourself like you normally would. For some of us, we get lazy and we won't challenge ourselves. So just notice if that's you. And if you can go deeper, allow yourself the privilege to sink in a little more, to surrender a little deeper into the practice. Becoming aware of our tendencies and our habits and making the best choices we can. You are about 2.5 minutes in on this side. Again, if we can go deeper, we might start to remove the props, the layers from underneath of us so that we can sink down a little more. If at any point you need to, you can come out of the posture, move through your down dog maybe, take forward rest, take child's pose. You can always meet us back on the second side. You have just about 1.5 minutes left here. Noticing, we talked earlier about those sort of intrusive thoughts, right? When we settle into our yoga practice, we're asked to be more of a witness and notice the thoughts and let them go. So taking the inventory of what thoughts are coming in and what thoughts we've attached to. We've chosen to pick up that ball and play that game, or do I want to choose to just sort of let them go? Throw them away. Maybe those intrusive thoughts need you to throw up in the air and hit them with the racket, right? Last minute here on this side. Long and full breath, focusing on the exhale, counting the breath if you need to, using a mantra, if that's what's working for you today. Last several deep breaths on this side. And then when you're ready, coming out of your swan or pigeon pose, you might curl the left toes under, plant firmly into your hands, straighten out, stretch that leg, Press in, lift the hips so that you can get the right leg back and come into downward facing dog, maybe, maybe not, right? Maybe you're on your hands and knees, you're moving through some cat-cows, taking forward rest. Maybe you lay down on your back, hug your knees and roll around a little bit. Any way that supports you in recovery from that posture and preparing yourself to move into the next. Can take a good minute here to sort of work through any of those discomforts that came up from being in that posture. Some self-massage, again, self-awareness, legs shaking around, hips side to side, anything, just any. There is no wrong way to recover. Be mindful and move mindfully through the breath, using the breath to move through whatever you need. Perfect. When you're ready, just come back to, if you're coming through downward facing dog with me, we'll come back to hands and knees. When you're ready, curl toes under, press hips up and back to find downward facing dog. Again, press firmly into the hands, press firmly into that right foot. Inhale, lifting the left leg. Exhale, bend the knee. Maybe move through that hip a little bit. When you're ready, inhale, straighten. And exhale, scoop the left knee forward. Set yourself back into the back of that left hip. The right leg is long and straight. And we're going to take the hands first, press in, lift up and get tall. Now we stop and we see what we need for support. Again, it could be underneath the front of this right leg. It could be under the back of the hip. Keeping the spine nice and long, keeping the shoulders in line with the hips. We begin that descent slowly and mindfully as you start that process of downward, downward, downward. Let your body respond moment by moment. And when it kind of jumps back and resists, pause, couple of breaths, and then allow yourself to come down a little bit more, a little bit more. Again, settling in that way will give your body the opportunity to respond and to relax. Because remember, the idea in our Yin Yoga practice is that we're softening the muscles. Again, the target is the tendons, the ligaments, and the fascia, that deeper connective tissue. And remember, we've said in the past that if you were to look at the fascia, that connective tissue, it reaches, it touches, it envelops every part of your body. Everything is interconnected through that tissue. And so again, another reason why pranayama, the breath work, and a practice like Yin Yoga is so important for immunity and strong, healthy bodies, because it is that network of tissue that speaks to one another. It is how energy travels in the body. And we all know that a good breath practice is what's going to really help move energy through, move things around in the body, keep openness. You're just about a minute and a half in. Relax the eyes, relax the shoulders. Deep breathing. No place else to be, nothing else to do. Enjoying the opportunity to take care of you. Settle into the moment and just be. The stillness of this practice should be pretty welcoming for all of us right now. There is a sense of panic and anxiety that we are now forced to sort of exist in. And if we can take anything that brings us a bit of stillness, a sense of calm and stability, of being in control, There are a lot of things that we have no control over. And so taking a practice like this reminds you of what you do have control over. You have control of your breath. You do have control of your thoughts. You choose what you want to hang on to, what balls you're going to catch, and what balls you're going to play with, and what balls you're going to let go, that you're going to literally push away. So recognizing the strength, the courage, and the confidence that already resides inside of you to navigate through these difficult times. This stillness, this courage, this peace that you feel in your Yin Yoga practice is always there inside, waiting for you to tap into. We're just at 3.5 minutes. Deep breathing, a sense of surrender and softening into that realization that you are in control of many things, many aspects of you. Even when we exist in a time, in a society, in a particular point in time where there are many things that we cannot control. Embrace the things that we do have the power to control. You have just about 1 more minute here. Last several deep breaths. Really slowly, very mindfully, taking those 2 hands back underneath your shoulders. Use the earth, use your breath, press in and rise up. From there, again, you might curl the toes under and move yourself into a downward facing dog, stretching, moving, breathing. It might be hands and knees. It might be laying on your back. It might be taking forward rest, whatever you need. Sort of allow your body to release, to get stretched out. Mindful breath and movement is all that is required. We're going to take a moment to sort of squeeze in one more posture, really about just sort of where we started, that expression of heart open, relaxed, and surrendering, not only through the heart and chest, but through the lower body as well. So I'm calling it supported bridge pose, but you'll see as we get there that it's a little bit more than that. So we're going to lay down onto our backs. You know that we often will do supported bridge on a block, but most of us aren't going to have a block at home. So I just rolled up a blanket to use, for example, today. So laying on your back, rolled up blanket underneath the sacrum. So this is all I'm calling a supported bridge. Just simple, real low, not up high, just resting here. Letting there be a nice arch in the lower back, letting the feet be on the floor, knees or hip distance apart. Tuck those shoulder blades, nice long neck. Arms could be down along your side. You could take them into cactus arms. You could take them way overhead, your choice. Just let there be a soft arch in the back. We're going to spend 3 minutes here with the feet flat, and then we're going to spend 3 minutes with the legs long, really working through the front of the hips again, heart and chest open. So you may have to sit up to see where I was with that, but now that you know what you need to do, just support the hips. Let there be a soft back bend, feet flat on the floor. Your knees are going to be parallel to each other, and just rest with that. Again, your arms could be in cactus arms. They could be T position, palm up or palm down. They could be way over the back of your head, your choice. Deep breathing, expanding fully through the belly, the ribs, and all the way up into the collarbones. Big inhale and exhale. Again, 3 minutes with the feet flat on the floor, and we'll take 3 minutes with long legs. If you wanted to take your feet closer together more where the sit bones are, that's again a great way. We've talked about it in the past, sort of bringing the spine into that alignment of calming down the sympathetic nervous system, sort of realigning the central nervous system to that neutral movement. Just sit and breathe here another 2 more minutes. Take a moment in this last posture, as it will be the last before you move into Shavasana. And think of 3 things that you are grateful for today. Sometimes in difficult times, and we are certainly globally in some difficult times, we forget to pause and create or recognize our own gratitude list. So in these last several minutes in this posture, heart open and exposed, think of those 3 things that today you could confidently say you are grateful for. There's no right or wrong answer here. Maybe something doesn't come to you and you just feel despair and overwhelming anxiety and worry, and you're really struggling to find something to be grateful for. Just open your heart up to receiving that which you should be grateful for, and it will come. When you've got that list of 3 things that today you know with confidence that you are grateful for, repeat those things 3 times to yourself. Allow yourself to meditate on that visualization of those 3 things. Maybe during your Shavasana, those are the stories that you've run over and over in your mind. Maybe it's later today that you take a meditation specifically to honor those things that you are grateful for. You have 30 more seconds here with the feet on the ground. Maybe take the time to see if those shoulders need to be moved down back. Maybe you decide to change the position of the arms, right? Adjusting in any way there. And so now the last 3 minutes, maybe if it's okay, straighten both of your legs. If that's too much, it doesn't feel quite right, just straighten one. I'll let you know when we're 1.5 minutes, and then we can straighten the next one. Let the hip flexors really stretch out. The legs are long, but again, their feet might just fall open. The hips relaxing, right, with those straight legs. Again, that gentle arch in the back. If there's pain in the back, you can certainly take the support out from underneath you, or maybe you need to adjust the support up or down just a little bit. Repeating your gratitude list with an open heart, a smile on your face, and a softness to the eyes. You have just about 1 more minute here. Last 30 seconds. Last several deep breaths. When you're ready, take the time. You might actually even need to utilize your hands to sort of help those legs. Bend the knees, plant the feet, lift the hips, slide your prop out from underneath you. Pelvic tilts might feel good there. Some windshield wipers, knees swaying side to side. Sitting up and taking a forward fold might feel good. Anything that releases you from that posture. And knowing that you're not only releasing from that posture, but you're preparing yourself for Shavasana, or your final resting pose. So again, maybe you get the privilege of the space that you're in now, so different than the yoga studio. You've got some really great tools to make your final rest really comfortable. And so again, that might be a pillow off the couch, a pillow off your bed, something that can really make your final rest super comfortable. And so when you feel all stretched out and you've got every kind of the idiosyncrasies out of the way, go ahead and make your way onto your back. Support your body. You may choose again too, if being in your home, you've got the space to take your legs up the wall. Maybe that's how you want to take your final rest. Awesome. Again, supporting yourself with anything and everything that you could possibly need. Take the time, tuck the shoulders, drape the arms along the side. Maybe again, that openness has brought some anxiousness today. Maybe right hand on belly, left hand on heart, finding Shavasana in this position, completely fine. Check in, release the tension in the lower jawline, maybe a kind of stretching out, opening up. Maybe you need those couple of really good cleansing breaths, like that big in through the nose, out through the mouth. And finally settle in. Settle in with a long neck and soft eyes. Slow breathing. Body beginning to simply breathe itself. Breath moves in and out easily without effort. Slow and easy breathing. Soft eyes. Resting. We talked at the beginning of practice and throughout this idea of letting go of intrusive thoughts. And so I thought it would be nice for Shavasana today for me to read, and I have read it to you before, the poem, She Let Go. Again, the poem is called She Let Go by Sapphire Rose. She let go. She let go without a thought or a word. She let go. She let go of the fear. She let go of the judgments. She let go of the confluence of opinions swarming around in her head. She let go of the committee of indecision within her. She let go of all the right reasons. Wholly and completely, without hesitation or worry, she just let go. She didn't ask anyone for advice. She didn't read a book on how to let go. She didn't search the scriptures. She just let go.
She let go of all the memories that held her back. She let go of all the anxiety that kept her from moving forward. She let go of all the planning and all the calculations about how to do it just right. She didn't promise to let go. She didn't journal about it. She didn't write about the projected date in her day timer. She made no public announcement and put no ad in the paper. She didn't check the weather report or read her daily horoscope. She just let go. She didn't analyze whether she should let go. She didn't call her friends to discuss the matter. She didn't do a 5-step spiritual mind treatment. She didn't call the prayer line. She didn't utter one word. She just let go. No one was around when it happened. There was no applause or congratulations. No one thanked her or praised her. No one noticed a thing. Like a leaf falling from a tree, she just let go. There was no effort. There was no struggle. It wasn't good. It wasn't bad. It was what it was, and it is just that. In the space of letting go, she let it all be. A smile came over her face. A light breeze blew through her, and the sun and the moon shone forevermore. Allow your breath to deepen once again. Allow the senses now to reach out into your space for information, taking in the sounds around you, taking in the sensations on your skin, the aromas in the room. Maybe a long stretch from your fingers to your tippy toes. Maybe a hug of the knees into your chest and moving around a little bit. A turn of the head side to side. And when you feel ready, taking probably your left side for a moment in fetal position. Coming here to find a moment of rest, a moment of contemplation, a moment of thanksgiving. Thankful for the inconvenience, thankful for the opportunity, and thankful for what is coming. If you would press into that top hand, the right hand, let yourself inhale and rise up. Coming back up to a seated position when you're ready. Once you're in seated, allow yourself to sit comfortably and confidently. Lift your heart. Relax the shoulders. And let's bring our palms together to find Anjali Mudra. Maybe it's a gentle exhale, lowering of the chin, a smile. And if you'd like to join me, I'll chant the sound of Om to finish our time together. Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Maybe a gentle bow down as you exhale. Inhale, rising up. My friends, thank you so much for the honor and the privilege to share this space with you. I am very grateful. I hope that you enjoyed the experience to the best of your ability in whatever space you found yourselves. I just thank you so much for allowing me into your space, into your time. Go and have a beautiful rest of your day. Until I get to see you again, I do wish you well. Namaste.